Good evening, I'm Katerina Georgieva. This is CBC Windsor News. Thanks for joining us. We begin with a look inside a Windsor area jail where overcrowding and frequent lockdowns are constant problems. CBC's Jennifer LaGrassa reports on the toll on inmates and how it impacts sentencing.
Conditions inside this Windsor Essex jail are so poor, they're sometimes leading to lighter sentences. Let's look at this through a recent trial where that was the case. A Windsor man charged with gun trafficking and breaking bail conditions ended up getting a reduced sentence because of the conditions that he faced right here at Windsor's Southwest Detention Center.
I'm raising the concerns before justices so they can realize that the accused person, although they were not yet convicted or sentenced or found guilty, were in harsh conditions.
The man's lawyer said he spent 500 days sleeping in a cell meant for 2 people with 3 people. When that happens, someone has to sleep on the floor. He also experienced more than 100 lockdowns, a majority of them because there weren't enough staff. And when it came to sentencing, the judge says they took these factors into consideration. The workers' union says these conditions are not only bad for inmates, many of whom might be struggling with addiction or mental health issues, but they also create a dangerous environment for staff.
There is an increase in staff assaults as well as inmate assault. Our ongoing workload is constantly increasing. We continue to have more demands placed on us.
Overcrowding and frequent lockdowns are nothing new here. These are long-standing issues that lawyers and the jail union have flagged for years. So why has nothing changed?
There's lots of policy about all of that, but there's very little enforcement of it. And that's because the correction system believes there's nothing they can do about it. So they just throw up their hands and do the best they can. And often the best they can falls dramatically short of what we would expect our criminal justice system to behave like.
This corrections reform expert who led an independent review of Ontario's jails says these conditions violate people's rights and the province's own policies for these facilities. Experts tell me change would require a complete overhaul of the system. In an email, the Ministry of the Solicitor General, which oversees jails in the province, said in part, "We will continue to work to build capacity within Ontario's correctional facilities to keep our communities safe." It added that it has invested $500 million in staff and infrastructure, though it's unclear how much, if any, has been dedicated to the Southwest Detention Center. Jennifer LaGrassa, CBC News, Windsor.
Canadian Hearing Services workers are continuing to strike in Windsor after 4 weeks with no end in sight. 200 workers are picketing across the province. They support people who are deaf, deafblind, or hard of hearing.
It's really upsetting for all of us here. We all have a lot of clients that are hoping to get service, and we would really like to get back to that. Our goal was to work through negotiations. We didn't want to be out on strike, but because our contract was revoked, we lost all of our protections at work and we had to go on strike for that reason. So if they wanted to reinstate that contract, we would be back at work tomorrow.
Outside the local CHS building, staff have formed a small picket line, eager for the issue to be resolved. It's the second strike in 8 years. Last time it lasted 10 weeks, and members locally worry that history might repeat itself. CHS told CBC it is committed to reaching a fair and responsible collective agreement. Colette Kennedy joins us now for our first look at weather with another gray day, Colette.
Yeah, it was better in the sense that we really didn't have that much rain, just kind of misting, right? A little drizzle here and there. But yeah, a lot of cloud cover and always kind of that threat. And it's a little more than a threat. We do have a band that's on our doorstep here. So that's going to be pushing through in the next hour. And I don't expect more to fill in behind that. It'll be a different story a little further east. So we do have some rain showers into the evening, 12 degrees for the low tonight. And then tomorrow, still a chance for some isolated showers, but otherwise not a bad day, 21 for the high.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Colette. Up next, wildfires are continuing to spread in Western Canada. Thousands of people are out of their homes in northern Saskatchewan, and communities in Alberta and Manitoba are also seeing evacuation orders. Alexander Silberman has the latest from Regina.
More than 4,000 people have been forced to evacuate their homes in northern Saskatchewan as aggressive wildfires continue to spread. The province is battling 17 active fires, including 10 that are burning out of control, threatening homes, businesses, and highways. The largest evacuation is the northern village of Pelican Narrows, about 400 kilometers northeast of Prince Albert, where wildfire is burning near the community. Fire crews are also dealing with 2 fires that have merged into one, now known as the Shoe Fire. It's the largest fire in the province, at more than 200,000 hectares in size. The fire has already destroyed camps and hunting lodges.
You hear people saying they watched their dreams burn, and I literally did that. It was devastating. The force of the fire and how it moved so fast, and I don't even have words for it.
In Manitoba, there are 18 active fires burning, including a growing fire advancing near the city of Flin Flon. Intense conditions have limited the resources sent to the fire, and officials say water bombers had to be grounded after a drone flew in the area. The town of about 5,000 people has been placed under a pre-evacuation notice.
I know there's a lot of worry in the community about not being able to leave in time. If there is an evacuation, are we going to be fighting for our lives, trying to get out of the town, get away from this fire?
Further north in Lynn Lake, about 600 people have been under an evacuation order since yesterday. In Alberta, firefighters are working to contain 20 out-of-control fires. An area of significant concern is Swan Hills, 220 kilometers northwest of Edmonton, where 1,300 people are under an evacuation order. And there are fears that hot, dry, and windy conditions could make fires on the prairies worse in the coming days. Alexander Silberman, CBC News, Regina.
Back to local news now. A whiskey heist in Windsor saw 1,000 cases of Crown Royal products stolen, with a retail value of almost $500,000. A semi-truck full of the booze was stolen from a fenced-in facility on Devon Drive near the mall on May 17th. The alcohol was then moved into a U-Haul truck, abandoning the tractor-trailer on County Road 46. Police believe the whiskey was then transported down the 401 to cities like London and maybe even further east.
I can't say that in my time here, that I have seen anything like this before. I'm sure it's not unheard of. I'm sure that it has happened, whether it's one of our neighboring cities. But in my time here, I can't say that I have recalled seeing anything like this before.
This is security footage of the semi-truck being unloaded with the alcohol going into that U-Haul on the left. Police say the suspects are unknown, but they do believe 6 or more people were involved to have pulled off a theft of this caliber. Police are asking businesses to come forward if they have any security footage of the heist, and asking anyone who knows where any of the alcohol is to come forward. In the meantime, they are working with neighboring police forces as they continue their investigation. Residents of a local retirement home are reliving key moments of their lives through a project led by a group of students. They visit the seniors, learn about their lives, and then create art to reflect those memories.
Hi, my name is Caprice. I am currently running Assumption's Maintaining Memory project. I'm in grade 12 currently. We started it last year after applying for a grant from our school board. So we were awarded the grant to have arts and writing students work with the local retirement home to engage with residents and discuss things that were important to them, things about their lives, and create art pieces, writing pieces, things that are important to cherish within their families, things that are significant to them. So we had students write poems, create paintings, portraits, things that were meaningful to the residents and their families. So Evangeline has been to so many incredible places around the world, and she was telling me a lot of really beautiful stories about them. And so for this piece, we wanted to honor that.
Well, it was beautiful, beautiful. Like I say, we learned from them too so many things. We discovered things that we didn't know that we have. The memories are really very vivid and very important to me. So when they asked me about this, it just came just like that.
It's nice to have young people around. And I taught at Assumption in my early years, and I enjoy seeing what they can do. And they created something with what we said, and then they came back and gave us presentations about everybody's, life. And it was really interesting. We found out stuff about people that we have lunch and dinner with every day that we never knew before, because they opened up to the students. The students knew how to get them to open up.
Windsor is the center of the province's cycling scene this week, with the Ontario Bike Summit happening at Caesars. CBC's Amy Dodge spoke with the organizers on Windsor Morning.
Some might argue Windsor isn't really the greatest example of a cycling-friendly city. So why was Windsor chosen to host the annual Ontario Bike Summit?
When we go to a city like this, we seek to elevate the narrative and gather together the people in the city, people like Annika, the advocates in the city leaders, legislators, to have a conversation about what exists now, and then learn from other people from across North America, which is what the summit does, about how their cities have met and dealt with some of the same challenges that Windsor often faces. So I would say this, though, having grown up here, Windsor is a great cycling city. The topography here, it's really flat. The weather is terrific. I mean, has all the conditions for a livable, safe cycling city, and better is always possible. So we're going to start there. And the next couple of days, we're going to talk about how to make it even better. And it'll be inspirational and informative. And with the new bridge coming, we're really excited to bring people to Windsor and show them what Windsor is doing.
We're seeing the first bollards, bits of separated bike lane downtown. University Avenue is getting its upgrade, which includes separated bike lanes. So those things are there. The other thing that we have going for it is a ton of people who care a lot. We are also a car-centered place. That's something that people take pride in. It's how a lot of people make their living. There are a lot of trips in this city that people will always want to do by car when they have the opportunity. What we also know is that not everyone in this community can afford to have a car. And that's probably a number that's dropping. The cost of living is rising radically. People are looking for ways to not have to maintain a vehicle all the time. So that's part of it. And even if you do have a car, not having to make that your go-to for every possible trip. That's a way of just reducing costs and also, getting exercise, getting out and, connected to the community as well. So I think it's a shift. It's not a full transformation to like an Amsterdam style, but it's definitely some easy things we can make happen.
If you're familiar with fishing in our area, you know that this is the time of year when silver bass run down the Detroit River. It attracts fishers from all over, but it also troubles some locals who are left to clean up some of the messy aftermath. Video producer Mike Evans went to the river to learn more.
We have the silver bass running this time of year, so the locals really don't look forward to it because so many people come from out of town. And there's just so many people here, but there's no limit on silver bass. So people come here and can fish round the clock, which often they do. We'll see campers, trailers. We'll see people coming from Hamilton, Toronto area. Dave, one of my favorite volunteers, comes down. He brings the garbage bags. He talks to them, put your stuff in a garbage bag. He picks up. But we're left with mounds and mounds of garbage.
This property I fished since I was a kid. The last long weekend we had, they come down here for silver bass. And they leave garbage everywhere. Just in 3 days, I picked up, on a long weekend, 22 bags of garbage. I picked up 6 bags just this morning. I pay for my own garbage bags to pick up all the garbage here.
And just to be clear, it's not everyone that comes down here that litters.
Well, there's locals here, unfortunately, that don't give a damn either. Like there were some here, locals, that were fishing this morning, and they were throwing their bottles all on the rock edge and everything down here. And I told them, I handed them a garbage bag. I said, listen, I'm 73 years old. I can't climb on the rocks. Pick up your garbage, I'll give you the bag, and put it in the bag and hand it up to me. And I will take it and put it in the container.
A live look outside there. Another gray day, but things are looking up for the weekend, which is just on the horizon now. And Colette Kennedy will talk us through all of that later on in the program. But first, a significant change to the proposed and controversial Bill 5. We will break that down after the break for you. Stay with us. Welcome back. We have the latest updates from the sexual assault trial of 5 former World Junior players in London, Ontario. The court was shown more video recordings of the 2018 police interview with 2 of the accused. Ellie Chiasson has those details, but a warning first. Viewers may find some parts of the report disturbing.
Today we heard 2 more accused hockey players giving their side of the story to police. Yesterday, it was Michael McLeod. Today, Alex Formanton. In 2018, speaking to London Police Detective Steve Newton. He brings up a text McLeod sent about a 3-way.
When Mr. McLeod is saying this, what is in your mind? What do you think was going to happen when you get back to the hotel?
Well, I just assumed that this girl wanted to have a threesome with me and Mikey McLeod.
Formanton says he had consensual sex with EM in the bathroom. Dylan Dubé's police statement was given over the phone. He says he went to the room because he heard they had ordered pizza. and was surprised to see a naked woman there. He says he too heard EM asking for sex, and he received oral.
I didn't really want to be there, to be honest. Like, that's kind of not what I'm about. Like, I don't really need that in my life, so I think that's why I was there for such a short period of time, but I feel like she wanted to be there more than us.
When Formanton was asked to reflect on the night in question,
She was instigating pretty much everything that happened. She wanted everything that happened. She had free will to give the oral sex to everyone, and our sex was consensual. So,
if she had decided she wanted to leave at any time, could she have left?
Yeah.
Okay. So, was anybody impeding her or stopping her from leaving?
No.
retired London Police Detective Steve Newton, who conducted these interviews, testified today that he closed the case without any charges because he believed she was actively participating in the sex and not too drunk to consent. Ali Chiasson, CBC News, London, Ontario.
The Ford government is making some last-minute changes to its controversial Bill 5 in an effort to ease concerns by Indigenous leaders. A group of Indigenous chiefs were at the legislature earlier this week speaking out against the bill, including Walpole Island First Nation Chief Leela Thomas. It aims to fast-track some projects by designating special economic zones, allowing some laws to be suspended there. Lorenda Redekop has more.
This bill, it just takes us backward.
The opposition again warned the government about its legislation.
You can call them special economic zones, but what we know you are doing is opening up the floodgates for an abuse of power by government.
The government says the goal of those zones is to speed up big projects, such as mines, highways, and power plants. Some Indigenous leaders spoke out against the bill earlier in the week. And the government is now making some changes. In addition to those special economic zones, it says it's developing regulations for new Indigenous-led economic zones. Plus, they added an amendment that regulations will recognize Aboriginal and treaty rights, including the duty to consult. Though by law, the government is already required to do that.
Under no circumstances will we compromise treaty rights, Madam Speaker, or the duty to consult. In fact, it will be a sharpened focus with First Nations who've approached us.
But Indigenous leaders warn the government could be headed towards blockades and protests, like the former federal Conservative government faced more than 10 years ago.
It's an insult to First Nations when you do things on the very last minute, at the 11th hour.
He says the government failed on consulting and feels they'll be forced to make more amendments. The Premier says these changes are needed right now.
We're in an economic war against President Trump. We want prosperity for the First Nations communities right across our province.
The NDP also attacked that idea, saying rights will be trampled if this bill passes.
What we cannot do is fight back against Trump's trade war by adopting Trump-style tactics, right? But that is exactly what this Premier and his government are doing.
Outside Queen's Park, people protested against the bill, Indigenous people and environmentalists. It would also water down the Endangered Species Act, giving Cabinet the final say on whether a species should be protected. Inside Queen's Park, a legislative committee is going through the bill clause by clause. The NDP plans to filibuster that until midnight, attempting to delay the bill being passed. Lorenda Redekop, CBC News, Toronto.
We'll be right back with weather. Colette Kennedy is back now with more on weather. Colette, today not the nicest of days, but we do know that things are going to be looking up in the days ahead.
Yeah, we have a really nice forecast coming towards us, and for multiple days, Katerina, which is kind of nice to see, right? So yeah, a little bit misty, a little gray to deal with today, and the temperatures not very impressive either. 13 degrees currently, Chatham, Kent, Windsor, London and Kitchener, and 14 for Sarnia and Goderich. And you can see, yeah, the winds for Chatham, Kent coming in off the lake. They've been fluctuating a little bit, but northeasterly at the moment for us in Windsor. And we have this band of rain that's pushing in. So it'll be a little more consistent as it moves through over the next hour or two. And then once that pushes by us, yes, there is the risk for a little bit of fog development and still some drizzle, but in general, not a whole lot of moisture to be found behind that. Now, there is some that's going to be filling in with what's going on with the situation east of us if you're going to be traveling tonight, so there'll be more rain to kind of push in there and develop. But for us, once we kind of get past this band, then we shouldn't have to contend with too much more. We will just have to deal with some of that cloud deck, and again, some of the lower level stratus can be a little bit of fog. Now, we see it wanting to break up and allow some sunshine through, but the more sun that we get, that will add to some of the instability that we're actually going to be having left over, kind of lingering on Thursday. So a few isolated showers possibly popping up into the afternoon hours. I think it's actually overall going to be a nicer day than today because we may get some of those sunny breaks in here, and there won't be much to those rain showers. And then beyond that, we get into some very nice conditions indeed, and kind of pushing, would you believe it, really even into our weekend here. So our overnight temperatures, very similar really to where we are right now. In fact, I've got 13 here. We may dip another degree. I think we'll be around 12 degrees through the overnight hours, but it's where are we headed? Where are we going for tomorrow? And looking pretty good for your Thursday afternoon, 21 degrees in here. Now Friday, slightest chance later in the day for some showers or thunderstorms popping up, okay, as we get a little bit more moisture in here. But 23 degrees, and then look at that weekend. Mostly sunny skies on Saturday. Overnight temperatures are pretty comfortable here. And then Sunday, 22 degrees. And yes, I'm sure you've spied this, but on Monday, a chance that we get some of that heat from the west starting to push our temperatures into the mid-20s or even beyond.
I love it. I love it so much. Thank you so much, Colette. And thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.